It was the year 1795. British were still in the process of capturing entire India, but the greedy merchants were facing staunch fight from the major kingdoms of India. But among them, one tiger instilled immense fear under those white skins. His roar made their hearts skip a beat. It was the tiger of Mysore, Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan's dream was to completely get rid of foreigners from his motherland. That was his only passion, and he made every attempt to fuel that fire. He painted his official symbol of the tiger roaring against European soldiers around the walls of his capital. By seeing it daily, he and his soldiers would get more motivation to throw back the invaders. To keep that remainder more personal, he ordered to make a wooden pipe organ, but it was not an ordinary organ. Tipu Sultan was not only known for his military expertise, but also for his important works in scientific advancements. He even developed the first firing cannon, and that technological love was echoing in that statue. The organ was made in the shape of a tiger killing a European soldier, 172 cm in length and 71 cm in height. The interesting part is on the side of the tiger's body where there is a flap. When it folds down, we can see a keyboard of a small pipe organ with 18 notes. When the organ is played, the sound it produces was intended to resemble the cries of a person in distress intermixed with the roar of a tiger. It doesn't stop there. While the organ is playing, the hand of the European soldier moves as if he is helplessly crying, and the jaw of the tiger moves to make his hold more tight. This masterpiece not only remains as a passion of Tipu Sultan, but also stands as a historical proof that Indians were ahead of the West in terms of automation and technological advancement. Now you may wonder where that organ is. Obviously, it is not in India. If it is in India, we would have heard about it. When the British took over the palace of Tipu Sultan during the fall of Seringapatanam, they were amazed by its advanced technology and the beauty of its craftsmanship. Yet, they cherished it as a trophy of winning their hateful enemies and kept it as a memorandum. Now, this masterpiece stands as a war pride of the British in the British Museum. Not only this, there are hundreds of priceless artifacts taken from India and kept in British Museum. Some may argue that it was a war memorandum and they can keep it. But let me show you another example. This one is also from South India, particularly from Tanjavur. During the 1800s, a wealthy Maratha king made a large silver salver and gifted it to a local temple. But it was simply taken by the British officials and was later donated to the British Museum. It still adorns the South Asian floor of the British Museum. Like this, there are more than 60,000 artifacts that are stolen and kept in display. So it's not a museum, it's a thief's godown. Now, how did this happen? This is Nivipedia, let's dig into it. With over 8 million priceless artifacts collected across the world, looted across the world, and divided for display in 70 galleries within 13.5 acres of land in Bloomsbury, London, British Museum is one of a kind. There is no doubt about it. It was built and opened for visitors in the year 1759, and its origin begins with the story of a British physicist, Hans Sloane. He used to collect many books, archaeological pieces, manuscripts, etc. To preserve and keep them safe after his death, he sold all his collection to the Parliament of King George II. After that, the museum acquired many artifacts by receiving them as donations and majorly by looting the countries they have colonized. This massive structure is divided into many sections and departments based on the origin, history, period, and theme of the objects. It has around 8 million objects, and most of them which were acquired during their colonial era were looted. The most popular attraction of the museum is the Rosetta Stone. Almost 6 million people visit this museum just to see this Rosetta Stone every year. What is so important about a stone? It is a treasure of Egypt. The Rosetta Stone belongs to the period of 196 BC. It is in fact an inscription of decree of King Ptolemy V who ruled Egypt at that time. And the most important point to note is that the decree was written in three languages: Ancient Greek, Demotics, and hieroglyphics. And this is what helped in deciphering what is written on it. The French soldiers found this stone in 1799 when Egypt was under the French rule. After that, in 1801, when the British defeated the French, the Rosetta Stone and many other artifacts were taken by the British. The Rosetta Stone is not just an inscription, it is an identity of their deep-rooted culture. And it's an evidence of their ancient civilizations and their languages. Even a language learning software was named after the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone has 3 languages inscribed on it, and this helped in deciphering the other languages. For instance, by analyzing the Greek version of a word such as Ptolemy, scholars were able to determine its equivalent in ancient Greek. This reference was then used to decipher the same word in Demotic and hieroglyphics, helping to unlock the alphabets of these ancient languages. So imagine how important this stone is to the Egyptians. The next important artifact in the British Museum is the Benin bronzes. The Benin bronzes is a group of 300 sculptures and plaques created by the people of Benin in 13th century in the present-day Nigeria. Not all the artifacts are made of bronze. Some are made of brass and even ivory. These intricately designed artifacts are showcased in the floor dedicated to the African art. Yes, a whole floor. Benin was once a prosperous country. When the British were expanding their colonies in Africa, they found Benin as an oil-rich region. They invaded the region in 1897 and destroyed it. They plundered a lot of treasures and many got entered in the British Museum. This was a clear act of theft and this cannot be justified in any way. There are many disputes against the British Museum for not returning the artworks. It could have significant economic changes in Nigeria as the artifacts are potential tourist attraction. There are thousands of artworks and treasures kept in display which were looted from India. A few of them are the Tanjavur Shiva statue. The statue was originally located in the Brihadishwara temple in Tanjavur, Tamil Nadu. The temple was built in 11th century. In the 19th century, the sculpture was removed from there and now it is displayed in the museum of a foreign land. Tipu Sultan's possessions. Not only the organ we saw earlier, the mighty Mysore ruler's personal belongings like his sword, gun, shield and his many other weapons are looted when the British defeated Tipu. The Amaravati marbles, which belong to 1st century BC, occupies a special place in the British Museum. These sculptures are considered to be some of the finest examples of Buddhist art and architecture in South India. There are thousands of such looted artworks, and here is another shocking news. Based on the research made by Columbia University, the Indian treasures in the museum collectively worth around $45 trillion, which is 17 times the current GDP of UK. The artifacts from the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro archaeological sites are highly valuable and serve as an identity of our ancient civilizations. It is essential to preserve them in our native soil, but unfortunately, some of them are currently housed in this British Museum. For almost 85 to 90% of the artifacts, they have no word of ownership and no rights to possess them. There is no gratitude to the people from whom these were taken. But the British Museum claims that they are making it available for all the people to see it. Why should an Egyptian travel all the way to London to see the Rosetta Stone to know about his cultural history? Should a student from India visit the British Museum to see and study about our fascinating history? Every country has their rights to possess their own artifacts. However, there is a flip side to this. Many governments do not take the responsibility to preserve these precious artifacts. For example, the Indian government has not shown enough care towards many archaeological findings. Numerous new findings are not properly displayed or made available for public display. Many museums in India are in pathetic conditions and the funds are insufficient to maintain them properly. Also, no proper tourism marketing is done to promote these museums. However, the British Museum still holds and preserves the findings of Harappan excavation. So, what do you think? Should all the artifacts be returned to the respective countries or should they remain in the British Museum? Comment below, let us all discuss.